Hi, everyone. This is the last series of the Healthy Root series, and this is our 12th session. And in this episode, we're going to talk about what would I do if I fell off the wagon. It's easy to fall off, and the question is, can we empower you with tools to come back and say, how do I correct and continue? And it's not that strange that if we fell off, and the question is about persistence and the consistency. Again, we have Dr. Crystal with us here, and she's going to lead the way.
Yeah, so just leading into that, the saying here that I've put on this third slide here about though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. It's really sort of highlighting that, you're a human being. It's really common to fall back into maybe habits that aren't necessarily serving you very well. But once you realize that and acknowledging that, you have this beautiful opportunity to start now and create a brand new ending instead of going down a path that may not necessarily be serving you well. So on the next slide, we want to acknowledge that, life happens, you're a human being, things, lots of things can happen to sort of throw us off kilter. And especially when you're starting a program like the one at Arthritis VIP, you are in a position where you're incorporating new habits, and they may not be lifelong habits yet. They're just starting to grow. So it is common for people to somewhat fall off the bandwagon. So the first thing that we encourage people to do is to, accept the reality that it happened. Place no judgments on it. You're not a bad person. You're not anything. There is no judgment with that, but just accept the reality and sort of, make a plan and get ready to move on from it. Like, how do you grow from that? And then, take an opportunity to sort of ask yourself, what happened that led me to this position where I fell off the bandwagon? What is it that sort of caused that? Was there something at work that took place? Was it a series of different things? Really take a moment to sort of like look back and analyze and see what truths you can learn from that particular experience. And then lastly, this is really important, and this is actually going to really help you to move on and grow from that experience, is focus on the things that you really want. I oftentimes will ask patients, if you've been dealing with a specific condition, what have you not been able to do in life? And there are some people who they would love to be able to play with their kids on the lawn. There are other people who would, really enjoy walking their dog on a daily basis without feeling pain in their joints. So when you focus on the things that you really want, so, if it's spending more quality time, in people who are attending today's lecture, ask yourself, if you didn't have any chronic pain, what would you be doing in your life? And focus on that, because that's what's going to give you that motivation, that gusto to really sort of like get back into the habits that are going to be serving your body and your health.
That's amazing. I just want to re-emphasize on that point. And there's a motto that I do and follow myself is why, how, that leads to consistency. The most of us will jump into the how. So I'll give you an analogy for this. An example is you might say one day, I want 6 abs. And you might find a recipe on the internet with what exercises to do and what food should you take and all of those frequency, all the supplements that you need to do. But the biggest issue, in order to get those 6 abs, you have to be consistent. And you will not be consistent unless you have a strong why you want to do what you are supposed to do. So with all of this, just like that third point is focusing on what you want, basically you have to find the why of why you're doing this program. And it's not why I'm not, or why should I avoid. I don't want the negatives. It's just figure out one or two things. I want to do this because I want to play with my kids. I want to this because I want to walk the dog. I want to do this because I want to walk with my husband. I want to this because I want to be independent. The stronger that why, our job is to give you the how. But all what you need to do is follow through with that consistency. That's exactly what the program will lay out for you. But you have that strong why to, if you derail and fall off the wagon, the why will put you back on it because there's a goal that you want to achieve at the end of that 90 days.
Absolutely. And I think exactly that is so powerful. And, I love that you said about like, being independent. That is so crucial. If you look around, or if anybody even visits, some nursing homes, you can see people that are wheelchair bound. And it does make you, really appreciate your own independence. And so I think that's a really great point that you mentioned there. So now with regards to hitting the reset button. So here's the scenario where you've fallen off the bandwagon, but what do we do or what can we do to really help our bodies get back into the swing of things? So first things first, this will last anywhere from 2 to 3 days, and it's totally dependent on a lot of things. If you're on a lot of medication, if you are chronically ill, then you might want to do the reset for maybe 3 days, but do it a little bit more gentle. Other people can do it for 2 days, but go pretty aggressive. So these are just general guidelines. So the intermittent fasting, hydration, light movement, and sleep. And so we're going to go through them each one at a time. So with regards to intermittent fasting, we recommend anywhere from 13 to 16 hours. Now, if you are not used to fasting, I would recommend starting off from 12 to 13 hours and being consistent with that. If you've done fasting before, if you don't have any blood sugar issues, then definitely you can try and handle a 16-hour fast. Essentially, what this means is that you're not having any meals or food after 7 p.m. at the latest. That would be ideal, so that you're going to be spending the majority of that fasting state sleeping. So what is safe to have? So let's say you've had your dinner. Then by 7:30, you're kind of maybe feeling a little bit hungry or you want to be snacking on something. While you're doing the reset, you're allowed to have herbal teas, water, carbonated water, but you want to really stay away from anything else that will break the actual fast. So for example, if you're doing a 13-hour fast and you started at 7 p.m., your first meal can then begin at 8 a.m. the following day. Now, what's safe to have during this reset period, you want to keep it really simple. So I sometimes tell patients, imagine you've just had the worst stomach flu of your life. The first 5 days, you're being really gentle and easy on your digestive system. You're probably going to be sticking to broths. You're going to be sticking to soups, really simple, easy to digest things. So here again, we've got soups, stir fries, lightly steamed vegetables. You can have a little bit of rice during the fasting period. But again, think of things that are very easy, gentle on the digestive system.
I'd like just to bring a very important point on top of that, why intermittent fasting is really important. Is think about it back to that flu, if you got that worst flu or when you get sick, and even remember it with the kids. When they get sick, they don't like to eat. And the reason for that is 70% of all our basal metabolic rate or energy is directed toward digesting and absorbing, eliminating food. If you go with that fast, basically you have an extra 70% to redirect toward your healing. And that's where the reset happens. It's an easy, gentle way to start with the 13 hours because you think about it, most of us will do 8, 9, 10 hours easily when you go overnight. And that's when you want it. You want it at nighttime. This is not meant for it to lose weight. We don't want you to do it in the daytime because healing and repair happens at nighttime, specifically between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So an hour before that, an hour, 2 hours, that's when we have that 7 p.m. It's just going to give you an optimal way to heal and repair overnight.
Absolutely. And it's sort of, like you mentioned, with regards to if your body, has that extra time to not be focusing on digestion, it can now put its resources towards healing and, eliminating some of the stuff that may have happened, some of the inflammatory processes that likely took place when you were falling off that bandwagon at that point. So now with regards to hydration, this is so super key. So especially when we're in this reset phase, you want to be consuming anywhere from 8 to 12 glasses of ideally room temperature water. Now, this is more in line with Chinese medicine, which I practice a lot. And so in Chinese medicine, the stomach and digestive capacities, you want to think of it as a pot. And we think of the stomach as the main cooker. So if you put ice water in a pot to try and cook, it'll take longer for things to heat up. Whereas if you put room temperature or hot water, things can get cooking a whole lot quicker. So it's easier, as we say in Chinese medicine, on the digestive fires. Sticking to or using bone broth as a way to keep hydrated as well. Bone broth is amazing because it will naturally have minerals and vitamins and collagen to support digestion. I love adding a little bit of grated ginger, nori or wakame, which are essentially just seaweeds, to give it, again, more of those minerals. Spring onion. It's fantastic, especially in the winter time, where you can just sip on that, and that counts towards your hydration. In fact, it's like super hydration, if you can think of it that way. And it is important that you, during these 2 to 3 days while you hit the reset button, I know it's hard, but you want to limit or eliminate altogether all caffeine. Caffeine is going to essentially sort of close off the blood vessels from the digestive area. Caffeine in general is very dehydrating as well. And so it just sort of slows down what we're trying to do, which is essentially give the body rest and an opportunity to heal while we're trying to reset things for you.
So just the note about caffeine, I've used the hickory tea or hickory coffee. It's basically similar to coffee in texture, but has zero caffeine in it. It's just a way for you to kind of indulge something with a taste. If that's a problem, you will get some little bit of withdrawal from that, but that's actually good for you, because the caffeine thing is like all pushing your heart rate up, pushing your metabolism, which you don't want. You want to rest everything down, as Dr. Purcell said.
Yeah, absolutely. And also there's dandelion root tea, which also has it's a good coffee substitute in terms of flavor. It's like a really dilute black coffee. Now, with regards to light movement, it's important that if we are doing fasting, we're really optimizing our hydration. We don't want to be doing anything super extensive on the body, because again, we really want to focus on that healing and repairing. But movement is so key here, because we want to hydrate those joints. We want to sort of move out that inflammation that may have get lodged in the joints itself. So gentle walking for 30 minutes. And I mean gentle walking, if you're able to maintain a conversation with somebody while you're walking, that's a pretty good pace. That's a way to kind of keep track of things. Chair yoga or yin yoga or restorative yoga. These are different types that, again, depending on your mobility, you have access to all different 3 types. Yin yoga especially is amazing for really focusing on joint health. Things like stretching, swimming. Swimming is actually beautiful because there's zero gravity on the actual joints itself. And then also Tai Chi as well as an option. So over the next 2 to 3 days, it is incredibly important that if you are going to be hitting this reset button, you really need to prioritize sleep. So ideally, you want to aim for a bedtime of roughly 10 p.m. and you want to aim to get at least 8 hours. Now, if you are having any difficulties with regards to sleep, refer back to the previous week that we did the feature on sleep and ways that we can sort of really optimize that. But the keys here are, minimize screen time an hour before bed, doing things that are gentle. So again, you can take your Epsom salt bath, you can focus on meditation, but you really want to, and I can't press this enough, and I'm sure Mark will be going into this with regards to what is taking place during when you sleep and why it's so important to really focus on that?
Yeah, so sleep is very critical for healing, repair, weight loss, muscle gain, for brain health, even the brain development. So what actually happens, the cortisol level peaks at 5, 6 in the morning, and it goes down around 8 p.m. goes down. And around 8, 9 o'clock p.m., that's when the growth hormone goes up, and the growth hormone is responsible for repair, healing, building new muscle, losing fat cells. And the key thing, it's only happened between 10 and around 6 a.m. That's the optimal peak for the growth hormone. But the growth hormone, I call it a solo hormone, does not work out when there is insulin spike. So if you eat before you go to bed, insulin goes up, then growth hormone say, okay, that's not my business today. I'll wait till everything is settled down. So think of it as the night owl. Basically, I gotta work solo. I need the cortisol level to be down. I need the insulin to be down. And that's when I come up to do my magic with heal and repair. And so that's what it falls that don't eat 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, very critical. And you got to sleep between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. to get that 8 hours, the ideal part. I mean, plus minus an hour is okay. It's just you got to chop out of it. One thing to add for that sleep, don't see any screen time an hour before. Again, you don't want to stimulate your eyes before you go to bed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so prepare yourself with all the meditation technique we talked about before, the breathing technique. So you want yourself into sleep. That's the most powerful part when you combine it with the intermittent fasting and having that hydration early on. Literally, that order is amazing. But that meditation part or breathing technique part, you can do it throughout the day. But yes, you prepped all your day with the intermittent fast to get served all that energy for the nighttime. You hydrate it for all those metabolites to work out really well. You mobilize all of the blood flow to the joints, and now you're gonna sleep to repair everything that you've done earlier in that morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And this doesn't necessarily have to be the quote unquote reset. I mean, ideally, we would have everyone following those 4 simple steps, and that's sort of foundational. But sometimes, when we feel overwhelmed with our lives, we need to really come back down to the basics. And so, this is the whole purpose of today, sort of walking you through what the foundation, what the basics are to help you sort of reset your mind. And again, use that sort of experience as an opportunity to get reacquainted with what is your why. Why are you doing this?
The truth is that should be the baseline, and this should be the ongoing thing to do. Even 13 hours of intermittent fast, that way you can get the most out of the night. But we are creatures of habit. We're not going to follow through, but at least you can reset every 2 or 3 weeks and reset your button and go back to that journey.
Absolutely. So this saying, that one day you will thank yourself for never giving up. And I really hope that it's not one day, it's that you will always remind yourself and wake up and thank yourself for showing up. And just really, no matter what happens, just always showing up and never giving up. So finally here, we talk about it week on week, the 3 things that we have oftentimes seen that impacts people's ability to heal from arthritis. It's those physical stressors, the chemical stressors, and the emotional stressors. And there are times in people's lives, myself included, where it seems like all 3 are colliding. And, for lack of a better term, it's a bit of a shiitake storm. And it's sometimes you do need to just really hit the brakes, hit pause, hit the reset button, and slowly tease apart, what brought you to that place to kind of get things back into order, essentially.
I'd just like to share a story, a personal story. Like a couple of days ago, I had to spend the night with my wife in the emergency department, So that messed up the whole sleep cycle. We were there
Yeah.
between 1 a.m. all the way till about 11 a.m. So what I did to reset everything, went back, I took a nap till around 2 o'clock. I woke up, I'm still feeling zombie. I feel like I wanted to sleep more. But if I know deep inside, if I did so, I'm not going to be able to sleep at 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I forced myself. I had to go for outside for a walk. I just tried to avoid that bedroom or bed because I don't want to do I don't want to take a nap and disturb everything. So that reset for me would have been 2 or 3 days. For me, I did it within 24 hours. So
Yeah.
I kept pushing. Did I had my dinner around 6ish, and I did not want to eat before I go to bed. We were done food by 7 p.m. And here we go, 9:30 or 10 p.m. I was exhausted, fall asleep, and then I got up at 7 o'clock and bam, reset that overnight messy situation. And I did that within a day, and life goes on back to normal routine.
Yeah.
In the past, that would have taken me 3-4 days just to reset because I followed my emotion. Oh, I feel sleepy. My body wants it. So I'm literally justifying what I'm doing. But I know I'm going to have the pleasure of sleeping in all the way till like 5, 6 p.m. But I know I'm going to mess up the night, the day after, and so forth. So you have to have that discipline that, you know what? Yeah, one night came out of control. Let me reset everything, go back to normal.
Absolutely. And I mean, we were talking about before with regards to like my own situation with my mother in the hospital recently. And, for me, anytime I'm under incredible amounts of stress, it hits my digestive system, like, and it hits it hard. So essentially, what I've had all day has been bone broth. And so we do practice what we preach. And then I made basically a clear broth soup for myself tonight for dinner with a lot of green vegetables because I knew I needed to get extra nutrition in there. And instead of having black tea as part of sort of like my quote unquote treat during the day, I just stuck to a lot of herbal teas and making sure that I was hydrated. And knock on wood, I mean, now as we're approaching the 8 p.m. mark, I am feeling a little on the tired side, but keeping my diet clean, light, easy to digest, I was able to get through the entire workday and like without caffeine. So it's incredibly amazing how resilient the body is and how the body is constantly working for you. But we need to get out of the way. And we really need to simplify things to really give our bodies the opportunity to do what we're asking of it to do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Crystal. That will
You're
conclude
very
our
welcome.
12-session series. I hope you guys get amazing benefit out of it and know how to navigate those 3 months that you're with us. This is an added bonus to all our patients at Arthritis VIP. Anyway, if you have any questions and you want to reach out, you know how to get to our phone numbers and or our email on the clinic website, and we'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. Have a great day, everybody, and thank you very much, Crystal, for all that informative information that we had over the past couple of months.
Oh, absolutely my pleasure. And, thank you to everyone who's been listening and following along. It's been an absolute journey or an honor to sort of walk alongside this journey with you.
Wonderful. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.